The theme of today's webinar is could sustainability be the future of luxury? Luxury and sustainability, two opposing concepts. At first glance, yes, perhaps. After all, the word luxury derives from the Latin word luxus and evokes images of pomp, excess, and debauchery. Whereas sustainability, as some of you know, by definition invites us to meet the needs of the current generation without compromising the ability of future generations to meet theirs. Luxury travelers easily hop on airplanes to visit everywhere from Bali to Argentina. When traveling, they expect a certain level of service, gourmet food and beautiful vistas. They expect high-speed internet access and their newspaper delivered to their door. But what is lost when one luxury hotel feels like the next? And what does it mean when luxury travel experiences are so utterly deprived of any connection to place or a bettering of the local community? How can luxury hotels find a differentiation of experience? And how can this differentiation serve to better the location to which its patrons flock, not harm? True eco-hotels involve more than just photovoltaic panels and low-flow toilets. Sustainability involves a holistic approach that incorporates the local community in a meaningful way. Sustainable luxury tourism and travel takes the long-term, wide-lens approach, including fully integrated sustainable programs throughout hotel operations and socially responsible programs. This is a really exciting topic we have today, and I'm really excited because we have the honor of having great speakers, three speakers. First of all, we'll hear Anna Pollock, the founder of Conscious Travel. She will explain to us the concept and why this topic is an important one. Then we will hear how the theory applies with two very unique properties. Floating Leaf in Bali, and we have Mikaku, the owner of this award-winning retreat center, with us today. And finally, we have Christian, the general manager of Shinta. Both hotels are absolute champions of both sustainability and customer service. So I'm looking forward to hearing their views on what is true luxury. Okay, just a few words to introduce those webinars. The goal is to inspire you so that you help and you contribute to change the world. And hearing our champions in sustainability will hopefully achieve that. I'd like to thank our strategic partners for this webinar, the Global Sustainable Tourism Council, a multi-stakeholder global tourism organization that promotes sustainability, and Training Aid, a global network for skills training, education, and tourism courses for travel and hospitality professionals. Just a few words about those webinars are organized by my company, Bookgreener, and TAKECARE.TRAVEL. We aim at bringing practical solutions for hotel owners who wish to green their operations. We aim at sharing best practices and creating a community of like-minded professionals. Look at your own property. I'm sure you came up with some practical solutions that are worth sharing. Of course, if you wish to contribute to future webinars as a speaker, as a sponsor, please get in touch. All the webinars are posted on the Bookgreener Connect website. It's a peer-to-peer skill-sharing platform for professionals involved in promoting sustainability in the tourism industry, hotel owners, sustainability officers, labels, experts. This tool is 100% free and allows any member to post the best practice, comment, and add a tip. I invite you also to check the previous webinars on water conservation, energy, waste management, and the impact on the local communities. So a bit of self-promotion about our new service called TAKECARE.TRAVEL. It's a consultancy that provides expertise, exposure, and communication support for sustainability, green communication, and online marketing to boutique hotels or larger ones, as a matter of fact, that are leaders in sustainability around the world. So this is our team, and we cover really a wide range of expertise. So basically what's common to all of us is we get sustainability. We understand it. So we are the perfect partner if you want to either communicate it, get the right website, your reputation management. So this is just a range now of services that we offer, from copywriting to reputation management, creating awareness and getting you the right bloggers and travel influencers, to, of course, accompanying you in your sustainability practice. It means getting an award, a label. Just reach out to us and I would be happy to get in touch with you. We also have a podcast channel where we share practical tips, we interview champions. So if you want to improve your practices, you can download it on iTunes. And finally, that's me. My name is Alex. I'm the founder of those two companies, and I'm at the origin of these webinars and podcasts. We are not funded, so if you like what you hear and you want to support us and you want us to continue, feel free to reach out either as a sponsor, or you can also check Patreon, which is a crowdfunding page. Let me now introduce you to our to our speakers, and I will start with Anna Pollock. Anna is the founder of Conscious Travel, a website aiming at giving tools and principles. Let me turn on Anna, we can hear her. Welcome, Anna.
Hi, Alex. I'm delighted to be here.
Good morning, Anna. Anna is the founder of Conscious.Travel, a website aiming at giving tools and principles to all actors of the tourism industry that aim at making tourism a force for good. Anna has been involved in sustainability in the travel industry for most part of her life, impacting and advising countless companies, including recently Airbnb and Inspired Escapes. She's an internationally recognized speaker and change agent. She is known for her ability to see the whole big picture and help others make sense of their rapidly and dramatically changing world. It's an honor to have her with us today. Welcome, Anna. I'll leave you the mic.
Thank you, Alex. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm sitting in a rather frigid England at the moment, looking out at frost, and I'm just imagining the circumstances that you and Mekako and my fellow panelist Christian are enjoying. So thank you very much for the honor of contributing to this excellent webinar. And first of all, let me congratulate you, Alex, on the work you're doing. These seminars are really very practical, very helpful, and I think you'll find that, like fine wine, they will enjoy a greater recognition over time. So the fact that everything's recorded really helps. I'm going to get right into the question, could sustainability be the future of luxury? My immediate answer to that is yes, of course. Sustainability is now a matter of survival. So I'll end my presentation there. There's the answer. Just kidding. I'm going to take a slightly holistic approach as well, just looking at the whole issue of what does luxury mean, how our attitudes to luxury are changing. And I've actually rephrased the question, as you can see. Can luxury suppliers help create a better tourism? Conscious Travel is really examining the fundamental assumptions and principles underlying mainstream tourism and suggesting that we cannot continue to just grow in size. We have to grow in quality and grow in terms of improving the net benefit to the destinations that our visitors enjoy. So again, the answer is yes, we all can and must create a better tourism. So 3 questions. What do we understand by luxury? How are consumer values changing? And where is the opportunity to use luxury, the demand for luxury, to make tourism better? So there are some negative words associated with luxury. It's obviously perceived by many people as expensive and therefore only affordable to a so it's the opposite of mass. It's associated with a few and used in the as a display, if you like, of success, of status, of power, as being a reward for what it took to get to that point of having that wealth. And therefore, those that can enjoy luxury are very often highly influential. They set the trends. They suggest to everyone else what is important, how one should behave. It's also associated in the past with conspicuous consumption. In other words, you've made it, you want to display, you've made it. And as Alex started out earlier, talking about luxury, the original Latin meaning of it, something negative. So let's go on to the positive aspects of luxury. And the positive aspect to me is that it's also associated with what is rare and what is quality, what is precious. Now, in that sense, luxury is a relative and contextual type term. So right now, looking at the frost, a really hot shower would be much appreciated, would be a luxury, especially if my heating had gone off or something like that. Sitting in Bali right now, where it's probably 30+ degrees, you would like a cold shower. So what I'm saying is luxury is highly subjective, relative, and contextual. It's very much based also on this notion of scarcity. So we're looking at a very expensive item here, a diamond. Now, what I find interesting is that the diamond community, De Beers, are very good at controlling supply in order to maintain the value of that item. In tourism, we've done a very poor job of that. In fact, I believe we've done the opposite. We've made what is rare and precious and special and unique very much a commodity. And to pick up your point at the beginning, Alex, an awful lot of luxury hotels all appear to be much the same. And what we've sadly done is we've not celebrated and taken full advantage of the uniqueness that each place offers. And that is our real opportunity to go back to adding value if we can get back into that uniqueness. Now, the luxury community understand to a certain extent the importance of maintaining this notion of scarcity and wealth, scarcity I should say. So here we have a scarce item, a very expensive watch, being associated with the notion of scarce, rare, endangered species. Now again, I make the point, if wildlife and landscapes and the natural world are becoming increasingly rare, and let's face it, the number of unspoiled places is diminishing, we don't actually have a method right now of having that scarcity translate into value. Anybody can basically exploit a scarce resource. The Arctic, the Antarctic are becoming scarce resources. And because they might be disappearing, we're encouraged to rush out and see them. But there's no way of necessarily attaching a price to that scarcity, and this is a subject I'd like us to come back to. The other feature of luxury is that things are one of a kind. And again, so when you're staying at the Shinta in Cambodia, what are the ways in which you can celebrate the uniqueness of that place by engaging with and purchasing homemade or locally made items by individual people, and in that way try to bring back the value into tourism. Again, look at status, what is cool and what is stylish. Again, this is another feature of luxury. How can those businesses, hotels that are engaged in providing luxury experiences, luxury products, how can they actually use their position in people's minds to set trends that are actually beneficial trends versus non-beneficial trends? Because luxury really is an aspiration. We all aspire to being able to afford something luxurious. And it's this aspirational aspect of luxury that's really important. As we said earlier, luxury is like beauty. It exists in the eye of the beholder. Now, traditionally in tourism, luxury in the developed world particularly has been associated with physical amenities, beautiful bathrooms, luxurious beds, the latest in high-tech gadgets, and so on. And this is where I think things are really starting to change. Now, just as by way of an example, if you would have taking a weekend trip across to Dublin from the UK on a Ryanair flight, you might consider it's certainly not a luxury. It's you're going to have you've got to get away. You're forced to doing it. You're going to be packed in like a sardine on a Ryanair flight and dropped off at the other end. It's not going to be a luxury to you. But if, on the other hand, you're sitting in a rice paddy and working 24 hours a day almost and can barely make ends meet, the very thought that you could get on a plane and fly through the sky and go anywhere would be considered an absolute luxury. Now, one of the points I guess that I've been concerned about is that luxury travel is a privilege. The very act that we can do what we do in travel has to be seen as a luxury, and yet the industry right now overall is promoting it as a right. And this is a topic I'd like to come back in discussion. Have we actually cheapened the very what we are actually offering to people, what they're about to experience, and made it that much more difficult for us to generate the kind of value from tourism that we need to generate in order to maintain it? Now, supposing the values underpinning our behavior and what we consider to be aspirational start to change. And this is an area that I've done a lot of work on, the fundamental values and beliefs that we often haven't challenged are actually in a state of enormous flux right now. And if our values, what we consider important, change, then everything else will change as well. And since the recession of 2007, there's been an acceleration in the pace of this change. So what we're finding is that a trend that started in the 70s has just gained significant momentum. And probably everyone listening to this seminar will be aware that there is a new consumer, or consumers are behaving differently. They want more, but they're defining it differently. And what we're really seeing is a movement, if you like, from the outer to the inner. We're seeking more meaning. We want to be stretched. We want to be transformed. We want to have a connection with the people that we're staying with. This notion of a greater sense of purpose. We're all, those of us who are fortunate enough to have our basic needs met, and that's all of us in the Western world for sure, are now starting to ask these questions. So this is what started me on my journey on this notion of conscious travel. I began to ask the question, what's happening after the recession in terms of these shifts? And I came across a report called the Conscious Consumer Report in 2009, which is now, of course, 6 years ago. And I think we're all aware that this notion of experiential travel is the hottest trend. I have to smile at that because personally I think all travel is an experience. So experiential travel doesn't mean very much. But the point is that instead of looking for luxury in terms of physical things, we're looking at luxury in terms of the time to enjoy an experience, to savor a moment, savor a taste, and so on. And that's huge. And you're seeing that happen in the luxury community, as you can see on the next slide. Slide I've taken from the Skift report called The Changing Business of Selling Luxury Travel. Now, I have a huge amount of respect for Skift as a magazine and as a source of research. But they talk about the 5 C's of the changing business of selling luxury travel: culture, cuisine, content, community, and customization. And all of this is very true, and I'm not going to go into them in detail. But the challenge with this work, and the challenge with an awful lot of research that's done in tourism up until recently, is it's all about what I call the outer attributes of tourism. So the outer attributes of luxury, of course, we know what they are. But what really matters right now is what's going on inside people's heads and inside people's hearts. And if we're really going to be smart in tourism, we have to delve deeply into psychology, the psychology of motivation, of meaning. So we go from the outer world to our inner subconscious world. And I can tell you one group that I met this year and spent some time with at Airbnb who really get it is that company. They are so successful because they're putting all their energy into those searches for those inner qualities. Now, if you really want to understand what luxury travel is, how it's changing and what it's meaning, I suggest you have a look at this blog. It's by an individual. It's called, you can see on the side its name. Just Google it when you get a chance to look at the slides later on. The author is a highly accomplished blogger. She's a millennial of the millennial generation. She's wealthy. She travels a lot. And look at what how she defines it. And you're beginning to see here that the need for personal discovery, for expression, for meaning, for personal growth, is becoming far more important. So having a situation where she can pursue these inner needs or satisfy these inner needs that are physical, emotional, and intellectual. So a luxury now is starting to look like having a complete experience, all of your senses being stimulated, your emotions stimulated and satisfied, being informed. So being treated as a whole person, not just a consumer, is becoming a luxury. And the latest report from HVS actually says the new luxury is being, not having. This is the roadmap that I have been using throughout my research, which is the most powerful roadmap of what's happening in society. If you understand this roadmap, you'll understand an awful lot about what's going on. And for many of you who've done marketing, this will appear quite familiar. But Richard Barrett has done some amazing things in terms of translating this into how people develop and grow. So at the early stages of our lives, of course, we're looking at satisfying our physical needs. And if you are on a long hike in the wilderness and it's minus 60 below, a luxury would simply be a hot shower in order to maintain your survival needs. But we do move up that hierarchy. The key thing about this map, however, is that if you look at society in general, most of those who can afford to travel are at what he calls stage 4. And we've made a movement away from satisfying our physical needs and even our need for relationships and to be admired. We're starting to question everything. What is the meaning of life and where are we going? And that is a luxury in and of itself, but it does suggest a very important dynamic. But if you look at the next slide, I've created this slide to try and give you my own map of how we within the luxury community can start to move sustainability forward. I think there are 2 ways of analyzing the situation. The vertical axis, there's a movement as per Barrett's and Maslow's hierarchy from just thinking about I to thinking about I in a community and thinking about we. We start as we mature to think about the consequences of our action. So that's the vertical axis. The horizontal axis is about our attitude to wealth, what's important to us. So on the left-hand side, we have a group of people who are still, if you like, at the bottom half of that pyramid, thinking that security is about acquiring and hoarding and getting status, and living in gated enclaves, if you like. And on the right-hand side, those who have moved up that hierarchy a little bit further are now looking at these inner values, are starting to think about the impact of their actions, their consumption on others. They want to make the world better. They want to have that freedom to make a change. So on the left-hand side, we have people who see it as a right, travel as a right, and the right-hand side, I think, as you grow, even in wealth and luxury, you start to realize it is very much a privilege. And the more we can move people into that top right-hand quadrant and see those as luxuries, the more likely we are to achieve some of our aims regarding sustainability. And the good news is that's exactly the direction that customers are moving at the moment. So if we look at the next slide, the recent research from that same company that did the conscious consumer back in 2009, this is a mine of information, and any of you, regardless of which market you concentrate on, I strongly recommend that you have a look at the work of BBMG and GlobeScan, who have identified 4 major segments of the population. And basically they've identified, again, they've got these 2 axes. The axis on the left is materialism. At the bottom you have a very low level of materialism. You're not worried about stuff too much. And on the right axis, it's about your social and environmental values. So as you move towards the right, you get greener and greener. They've identified the global population, this is a global study, fit into one of these 4 quadrants. On the bottom we have, on the right-hand side, we have the advocates. These are people that we've traditionally spoken to or engaged in the sustainability question. And they're suggesting that maybe this is a mistake, because the real opportunity actually is what they call this aspirational quadrant. These are people who, if they like to shop. I mean, they are material in one sense. They are the millennial generation, but they also are boomers. They're across all age demographics. They still love to shop. They love things. They love experiences. But they also strongly believe that we need to consume less. So they're moving from tangible things and more things to more experiences. They want happiness beyond stuff. They are very much connected to one another. They influence one another. And I believe it's this group that is really starting to define or redefine what luxury really is. Next slide is just an example of how some luxury providers are tapping into this market. And I will just let you just see this and have a look at the research yourself. But there's this notion of luxury are things that are cool. And, you know, like this notion, how might we make cool stuff better and better stuff cool? So where is the real opportunity? My last two slides are following. If you could click to the next slide. I think what all of this is suggesting to me is that we reharness the aspirational aspect of luxury to redefine success. Is it all just about having more, or is it about having a better, deeper experience? Is it the capacity to just acquire things and display the acquisition, or the freedom to choose, the freedom actually to be able to make things better? Is it for moving from having to being, and the freedom, as I say, from taking to giving? So if luxury is achieving or enjoying something rare, then can we redefine travel in this context as true privilege, having uninterrupted time to enjoy the natural world, being restored and restored by nature? So if we're going to appeal to this market that is the real dynamic at the moment, we need to be 100% who we are, authentic, and we can bring back this notion of uniqueness of place. We're going to have to be responsible. We have to inspire this generation, this particular market, and give them a sense that they too can make a difference. So redefining luxury, the height of luxury, I would argue, in the future, can we go one back, thank you. The height of luxury in the future is to have the freedom and the means to be able to grow and develop my own potential while supporting others in realizing the same. Redefining tourism success in that context is co-creating destinations in which all life forms, all stakeholders, the host, the guest, the suppliers, the residents, the investors and nature can truly flourish in a qualitative way. And when I look at the work that Christian is doing in Cambodia, and he's going to be speaking shortly, what he's doing there is he has a luxury resort where everyone is flourishing by making some fundamental changes in what and how he defines success and what is important to him. And now he's getting the accolades from the public for having done that. And if we have more examples of situations like this, we will have redefined not only luxury, but have really made a major step towards making tourism truly sustainable. So with that, I'll end now and look forward to any questions later on. And thank you for your time and your patience.
Thank you, Anna. Thank you. Really an inspiring talk, like always. I welcome now our second speaker, the owner of Floating Leaf in Bali, Mikaku. So Mikaku owns Floating Leaf. It's an eco-luxury retreat, which is actually currently rated #3 to all hotels in Bali. So what's really impressive is he does that with 10 rooms. He was a professor of art and photography in a previous life, and he's been coming to Bali for more than 2 decades. He's an award-winning educator and photographer, and he loves to share his passion for Indonesia and its many hidden wonders. He has written numerous articles on Bali's culture, art, mysticism, healers, and more. A lifelong student of sustainability, and he studied environmental studies at the University of Wisconsin. Mikaku has traveled the world learning various techniques and methods and has put many to use in the creation and advancement of Floating Leaf, his eco-luxury retreat. He was recently awarded Travel Photographer of the Year. Good afternoon, Mikaku, and welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. And to Alex, Anna, and Christian, I am incredibly humbled to be included among such luminaries. I hope I can do that justice. Also, I must acknowledge my wife, Putu, as we are true partners. She is as much a part of this as I am, if not more. So let's get into the topic. It's a great one, and we've had a lot of very fantastic things to say about luxury. And as we know, luxury is about making our guests as comfortable as possible. Hotels spend millions up with new ways to comfort and impress their guests, from chandeliers to statement pieces, hyper-modern lobbies, etc. But a supremely overlooked element, as we've been discussing, is sustainability. Sure, there's greenwashing happening at almost every hotel chain, and some legitimate steps forward as well. But that same luxury hotel that tells me they're green serves me my drink with a plastic straw. In fact, if luxury implies making your guests as comfortable as possible, that plastic straw is actually making me quite uncomfortable. And much less comfortable when I consider they have 300 rooms with non-reusable plastic containers for soap and shampoo and however many other easily remedied unnecessary waste items are included. So our message to the hotels is, if you want to make the eco-conscious traveler happy and comfortable, implement sustainable solutions and win the hearts and minds of this crucial and exponentially growing market. And how do we do that? For me, nothing says sustainability more than permaculture. Permaculture is much more than just growing fruits and vegetables. It's a creative design process based on ethics, nature, community, and the elements of design. It teaches us that the rhythms and relationships in nature can be applied to all aspects of human habitation, from agriculture to eco-conscious construction to education, social structure, and even economics. As laid out in this slide by David Holmgren, there are 12 basic permaculture principles. And while we attempt to apply all of them at Floating Leaf, I have time to just cover a couple of them with you today. So as the first one comes up, you'll notice that it is to observe and to interact. It's to use and to value renewable resources and services. This one also is much broader than it seems at first in its true permaculture sense. Sure, we harvest rainwater, and actually it's raining right now in Bali for the first time in quite a while, and we're actually quite happy about that. I feel a little bit bad for our guests at the time, but for us who harvest the rainwater, we're really excited right now. So we do that. We make furniture from old fishing boats that are no longer seaworthy. We have any number of activities, but that's really just one definition of this principle. Bali's culture is among the richest in the world. The art, the ancient irrigation systems, the closeness with the land, not to mention the magical and mystical aspects that occur only here in Bali. Another true reason why I live here. It's consistently mind-blowing in that respect. Celebrating this deeply authentic culture is immensely rewarding. It's unique and exciting for us and for our guests, and we try to bring our guests into as much authentic cultural experience as we can. We don't need to buy this $2 million Chihuly chandelier for our lobby. In fact, actually just last week we supported an extremely talented local artist who crafted a breathtaking traditional set of Balinese doors, and we're using those as the statement piece in our main entrance. To me, that says luxury. Every Sunday we have 10 to 20 young girls from the village that come here to practice their traditional dance in our big yoga sanctuary. The guests love it, and they can participate and dance as well. We love it. The girls and their teacher loves it. Really, who loves it the most is our little 2-year-old boy, Bodhi. But it's a great way to experience and celebrate the local culture and bring that directly to our guests as well. So using and valuing local resources and services. Travel has changed. Luxury is changing as well. The Club Med experience is a dinosaur. People, especially the high-end traveler, is no longer satisfied with foo-foo drinks with umbrellas in them on the beach, or pool volleyball and a hula-themed dinner buffet and all that type of thing. Instead, They want to tell their neighbors and their buddies at work not about these aforementioned generic package vacation deals that they went on. They want to say that they experienced a 2,000-year-old Balinese cremation ceremony and they were the only foreigner there. They want to say that they had a private session with a traditional Balinese healer who was able to alleviate their chronic back pain that Western medicine could not seem to remedy. And while having all of these unique experiences, they did it in luxurious accommodations as well. That's the new luxury travel experience. Integrate rather than segregate. This applies to Floating Leaf in so many ways. From a garden perspective, putting the right plants in the right place and cultivating relationships between those plants is crucial. They'll harmoniously work together to support each other and to grow better than they would on their own. But in a much broader perspective, this is about how we attempt to integrate into our community. It's imperative that we're active participants in the village, and we do our part to help and to give back wherever we can. This provides numerous benefits. But what is germane here in this webinar today is that it allows us to be included and to include our guests in sincere cultural exchange experiences, participate in profound and mystical rituals and ceremonies, and to make connections with our neighbors and their families, see how they live, see what's important to them, to hold each other's babies, and to have deeply rewarding experiences that will live for them for years and years. To me, that's luxury. We hear from our past guests often as we develop deep friendships with them while they're here with us. And they recall all kinds of memories from their time with us. But not once has any past guest, or current friend as I should say, has ever recounted the 1,000 thread count sheets or the imported mattresses or any of the traditional quote-unquote luxury items. And then, yes, they come back to Floating Leaf to enjoy our 6-star service and our quality linens and the gourmet healthy food and all the other old guard staples of luxury as well. But this new holistic form of luxury, that's the future, and I think that's where the market is going, and that's what we strive so hard to do. Thank you so much for your time. Again, it's a truly humbling honor to be included with this panel. If anybody has some questions, we'd love to hear from you. Feel free to learn much more about what we do at balifloatingleaf.com. And everything that we do here is open source. We develop new sustainable materials, and we give that to anybody who wants to participate. So I welcome your comments, your questions, your emails, etc. Please come see us. We'd love to meet you. Thank you again.
Thank you, Mikaku. What an inspiring property. I've had the honor of visiting it, and I will corner you to go into the details of what you just mentioned. Everything is open source, so I'm going to help you get the word out so you can, from inspiring the communities around your place, you can really have an impact at a Bali level to start with. So really honored to have you with us. Now, let me introduce you our third speaker today, Ed Christian. Good afternoon or good evening, Christian.
Hello, good afternoon.
So, Christian, good afternoon. You're the general manager of the Shinta, which, attention, round for applause, attained second place in the 2016 TripAdvisor ranking of the world's best hotels. So, lucky that I organized this webinar before you became a rock star. You were number 3, now you're climbing to number 2. Congratulations, it's quite an incredible achievement. So a few words about your hotel. It's located in Siem Reap in Cambodia, and it's been a model of how a hotel can be involved in the improvement of the local community's lives. Indeed, the hotel itself is funding the Shinta Foundation, which is dedicated to teaching the local youth, provide medical attention to the people who can't afford it, and help small local businesses get funding. The cohabitation of the for-profit hotels with their non-profit foundation counterpart. So the cohabitation of the for-profit hotels with the non-profit foundation counterpart, how they work, exchange and benefit from one another to strive and ultimately make the best impact on their environment, makes for a fantastic tale, which Christian will be more than happy to tell us. Christian, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon to all of you from a very sunny and warm Cambodia. Can we go to the next slide? First of all, Shinta, we present ourselves, and that really is what we are, as both a 4-star hotel, Shinta Resort, and a 4.5-star resort. In the previous two presenters, I've heard some items that are really making sense to me. I mean, there is absolutely no way Shinta is the world's, whichever ranking they've given us, in the old way of thinking. Absolutely not. Thank God, technology has changed everything, the world is changing, the travelers are changing, and we're able to adapt rather fast with that changing world. And that has resulted indeed in not only being most likely the most successful hotel in Siem Reap, but also the #1 on TripAdvisor, the #3 on TripAdvisor in Siem Reap right now, the number 3 worldwide last year, the #2 in 2016, but also Travel and Leisure Global Vision Awards, the Condé Nast Hot List in 2015, Condé Nast Choice Awards in November of last year, #9 worldwide, and all of that whilst I can assure you there are, in the traditional sense of the word, better hotels in town. But we do everything different for the very simple reason that we have to do everything different. We're in an enormously competitive industry here in Siem Reap with now, I saw this morning, 275 hotels, of which the vast majority is at least 50% empty throughout the year, other than 1 week Chinese New Year. In Siem Reap is also one of the cheapest or best value for money destinations around the world, so it's not that easy to earn a living down here in Siem Reap. So we had to be different in every single thing that we do. One of the goals that was set to me is to make sure that I employ all of my staff throughout the year full-time. So we do not have high season staff and on April 1st, when low season starts, fire 40% of those people and to rehire them again in November. At Shinta, every single one of my staff members is on a full-time unlimited contract. So we've, as I said, had to do things a little bit differently. That starts off with a sales budget from the traditional hotel chains. Here in Siem Reap, there's a hotel that has this annual sales budget, an annual travel budget of $185,000. In my case here in Shinta, that's void. We spend less than $500 annually on travel, so we don't travel. On my own personal trips, even though I'm the GM, I do not travel in business class, I fly economy. And brochures, we have none, 0. So all of those things, all of those savings are going directly back into, for instance, a full-time employment of my staff, and that then has resulted in a brand new way of doing sales, a brand new way of thinking. On Facebook we have I believe 583,000 likes dotted around planet Earth, and our YouTube videos, which are perhaps a little bit different from the standard hotel video, on the latest count I saw that it was watched 325,000 times. Also in 2015, Shinta was featured on The Amazing Race, Bloomberg Television, and well, God knows how many other publications. Yeah, Shinta consists of, as you can see, 2 different hotels, club and resort. In the west, they would have been built on top of each other, but down here we have a lot of space. So we built them next to each other. In total, 102 rooms, 275 full-time Khmer staff. I am the only I'm actually the only Western staff in the hotel. We have one other Western staff who runs the foundation. The hotel has 2 pools, 3 restaurants, very much in the center of Siem Reap, and as I probably say, a higher GOP than most of the other hotels in town. I'm just seeing a typo. Year-round occupancy in 2014 was 71%. Last year was 77%, and in 2014 we had indeed a turnover of around 3 or 4 people, I believe. this is what I earlier said about the fact that we have no brochures and are very active on social media. The sole goal of every single one of my staff, the sole goal of myself, is simply wowing our guests. Each of my guests is already flying home. They've already bought their own ticket. So if I can impress them to a level that makes them fall in love with us, then they go home, rave to their travel agency, rave to their friends, rave to their neighbors, and as a result, we get obviously a lot more future guests. Most of our bookings, and in low season that's sometimes up to 80% of our bookings, are direct, and that's directly via the website or via our Facebook page, where we have now implemented the booking engine, and that's all. No, that's starting to pay off. But the key thing is to simply get 275 staff members to go flat out to wow the guest. I believe that it is my number one priority to make sure that my staff is happy. A long time ago, I used to work for a gentleman called Richard Branson, who I've allowed to learn a lot from, and it is obviously his initial philosophy, and I'm very lucky and fortunate for being allowed to do all of those things here at Shinta. With that, I mean, and how did we put all of that into place? First of all, as I said, we're probably the only hotel with only full-time staff. We also have the very best healthcare of any company in the whole country, the whole Kingdom of Cambodia. I've had numerous arguments with big healthcare providers because according to them, there is a difference between white people and Khmer people, and they put this on paper, that if a white lady gives birth to a baby, she'll get all kinds of painkillers and stuff, and it's all insured. If a Khmer lady gives birth to a baby, then it's unfortunately not covered. And that's just one of the many examples. I asked the lady why that is the case, and in 4 different meetings they couldn't give me an answer. In 4 different meetings they came up, they continued with reasons why there was a difference, to which we at some point said, you know what, we'll do it ourselves. And as a result, we now put the money we would have given to that particular insurance company, it goes into a separate bank account, and from that bank account we pay every single type of medical coverage that there is, or that any of my staff has had over the past 2 years. And in fact, we still have money left. So it's actually rewarding to, one, give a better healthcare system for my staff, and two, my accountant is also happy. So that's the second one. We did last year the year before 38 English classes a week. Or in 2015 I paid for each staff 75% of their English class courses. We've done this, I mean, Cambodia is a developing country, so I've taken my heads of department on a trip to Bangkok, and now the number 2s of each department have also been to Bangkok, i.e. the first time outside Siem Reap for some of them. We are rather active in our local community. We work together with the local people about women's rights issues and healthcare issues for indeed mainly women. We've been allowed to educate 120 regional politicians and police officers about, well, again, women's rights, but that you shouldn't beat up your wife, and because apparently it's not the right thing to do. That was a joke. And so I strongly believe that I want to be part of the Cambodian community, and one, because that makes my staff proud of their job, and as a result they'll give even better services to our staff, to our guests, and that then is a circle upwards. The Shinta Foundation, if we can go to the next slide, the community achievement, just a couple of things. This is not the full list. and it's as of March 2014. It's the last slide I could find. This is one of the achievements we've done. In November of this year, we treated 2,500 children dental care. In February of this year, of 2016, we're treating another 2,500 children dental care in cooperation with Global Dental Relief in the United States, who are indeed coming over. And we're the sponsor of Global Tier Games and Giant Puppet Parade in Siem and a lot of other stuff. All of that then results, and that's the key thing, that results in the fact that, one, we're very loved by the community. Two, we're rather loved by our staff, and again that filters back down to our guests, who are as a result getting an experience that they will never be able to get in any other hotel. They will never be able to get in a chain hotel. They can only get, in Siem at least, currently at Shinta. So are we, pure product-wise, the best hotel in town? No, we're not. Are we able to give the very best service? Yes, possibly we can. Are we able to give the very best experiences to guests and make them fall in love with Cambodia? TripAdvisor says we are, and we do, and we have. And one statistics, whilst I was waiting earlier on for the presentation to start here now, I myself am still rather in shock, because it's not a traditional listing, but 152 newspapers worldwide have covered Shinta over the past 24 hours, and then I've used an app for this. That means that should every reader have read the article, and it's 43 million people worldwide have read about Shinta, about a 4-star hotel. So purely on that front, taking care of your guests, being different, thinking different, and actively trying to make a difference in people in your staff is clearly working out, and it's clearly having its results. So I'm excited for the future. I'm excited for being allowed to be part of this. Yeah, indeed, the Made in Cambodia market, that's now happening 4 times weekly. It's my own personal little initiative. I was on a flight. I was on a flight to Taiwan, and I was invited to a factory where they very proudly made miniature Angkor Wats, our local temple complex next door. And every 90 seconds, 200 of those Angkor Wat key rings are coming out of this machine that employ 3 Taiwanese people. Every 90 seconds, 200. And after a couple of weeks, they change the mold and make, I don't know, Sydney Opera House or Statue of Liberty or any of those other things. I was really upset, because whilst I do not believe in giving money to anyone, I don't believe giving money is a solution to anything. Creating jobs is what we need. Creating respect is what we need. And a job is indeed the beginnings of respect. So that's where the next week, within a week, we organized the very first Made in Cambodia market 3 years ago. Initially once a month, followed by twice a month, and now 3 years later to 4 times a week. I know of one particular lady who came up to me about 6 months ago, spoke to me completely in Khmer, and I don't speak any Khmer. But apparently I was thanked for everything we do here at Shinta. I was thanked for organizing the market, because just before the lady was offered a job here at the market, before she was told that she could sell her stuff at our market, her husband was very sick and she needed money. She had no more money. The rice harvest had collapsed, and the only thing left to do was, unfortunately, the unthinkable with one of her children. That never happened, because the lady, on the very first day at the market, the very first day selling things to those strange white people, my guests, she sold 2 bags and earned $44. As a result, her life is a hell of a lot better now. So, is the market a success? In my little humble opinion, at least for this one lady, yes, definitely it's a success. And if we can all make one person happy in the world, then we've all been a success. So, thanks for listening.
Christian, I have questions coming for you, asking your specific take on true luxury and whether, I mean, Anna has got into the detail of explaining the concept and what was behind and trying to reach out to the guests in a different way than the traditional way. What is your take on that? And do you think that you are fitting into that definition of true luxury? Did you resonate what was said at the beginning? Can you maybe elaborate about how you do it?
True luxury is experiences. That's what a luxury is. And as long as I have, not daily, but 3 times a week, I have guests crying when they leave the hotel, crying because they've fallen in love with my staff or with the people from Cambodia, then I think we've been able to give that once-in-a-lifetime experience to at least that one particular guest. And that is luxury. When people travel to Cambodia, it's a very specific type of person. I mean, don't bother coming here if you're after nightlife. We don't really have it. If you're after a south of France type of experience, please don't come to Cambodia, because we don't have any of that. For people that want to experience things, for people that want to be impressed and amazed, then Cambodia is the country, and my staff, I believe, is indeed able to give that type of experience that sometimes money cannot buy. By being real, by simply being real. I mean, a guest wowing factor starts from actually before the second they arrive already. So there's a couple of things. We never ask for a credit card at check-in. I mean, it's very rare that we do. Because in the true sense of the hotel industry, hotellerie, we should trust our guests. And in 8 years Cambodia, not one guest has ever walked out with anything. So it's okay. It's perfectly fine for us not to ask for a credit card. But that wows a guest. That's, wow, I wasn't expecting this. We give guests a telephone, so they can call us, or they can call their restaurants, or they can call this, or give the number to their friends at home. If they arrive early, we check them in. If they stay late, because their flight is late, we check them. If they can stay late, providing I have rooms, obviously. It's simply actively thinking, what can I do for that one guest, Mr. and Mrs. Smith in room, whatever, to make them happy? What is that one thing that I can do to wow them? If a guest is sick, let's bring them, and it actually works. And my friend in Bali will agree on that. Bring them fresh ginger tea. It works. It's simply fantastic. And so actively look at things from a guest point of view. This is my hotel, the hotel I work for, this is our home. My staff has been trained, this is our home. If I come to your house and I say, no, we agree, I'll meet you at 2 o'clock, and for some reason I turn up at 10 a.m., you're not going to ask me to wait outside and arrive at 2. No, you will instantly invite me into your house. Come in, have a seat. Can I get you a drink? Sure, it's a bit of a mess, but all of that stuff. That's what a hotel should go back to.
Christian, I have questions, a lot of questions coming, and actually from hotel owners and managers asking about your training inspiration. Do you train yourself? Do you train the trainers? And if you have resources that inspired you in how you manage to, because our audience gets the theory and how you actually do it, but how do you practically train staff that are not used at all to these things? They are probably afraid that if they do a mistake, they might have to pay for it, or so. How did you achieve it all?
Making mistakes is good. Making mistakes is not a problem. As long as I know about it, fantastic, no issues. All of my staff is trained by mainly myself. And it's trained from a this is our home type of experience. What would you do if your friend is standing in front of your door? What would you do? And then, well, boss, I would let him in because a bit early, but coming in, do you want a drink? Oh, okay, good thinking. Let's do the same to our guests. Everything is from that point of view been trained. And said, yes, I've had my heads of department, I've brought them personally with me to Bangkok, and that's 2 years ago. And last year was the number 2s from each department. That was the first time for most of them out of Siem Reap. They've never left Siem Reap. So never mind the motorways, because we don't have motorways. Never mind the lift, because we don't have a lift. No, and so on. So everything has been trained from a very personal, very hands-on type of scenario. It's been hard work, but it's paying off.
Yeah, can I just, was listening to both Mikaku and Christian. I find it very inspiring. And just to pick up something I was saying, if the reason I think that they are as successful as they are is that they are offering true luxury, and we associate luxury with what's rare. And I think right now what's rare in the tourism and hospitality industry worldwide is feeling genuinely cared for as an individual when I walk into a hotel. Everything with the traditional current ways of operation, in my experience, is as I walk into a hotel, I am a wallet on legs, and everything is designed to extract as much value or money from me in my experience. What's really rare right now is active caring. It's empathy, it's compassion, and frankly it's what's called common sense, which is not common at all. What Christian and Mikaku are doing are actively caring for their guests by enabling them to have those deep experiences. But you can't just care about the guest and then treat your own people in a shoddy fashion. So minimize the wages they get, change their hours, contract hours, that kind of thing. It just doesn't work. It just says that you don't genuinely have that capacity for compassion and caring. So you have to look at it holistically. So if you're not also caring about your community, which again, I think Christian is doing such an amazing job. He is caring about the livelihoods of the community around his particular hotel. He's providing opportunities for that caring to continue and spread. And it's not surprising, in my opinion, that the guests go home almost crying, because it's a luxury to be cared for in that way.
If we have a hotel here in town, I'm not going to give you names, but we have a hotel here in town with around 100 rooms. It's an international brand. They have 6,000 salespeople dotted around planet Earth. 6,000 people. I have 3 Khmer. We don't travel. Whilst they continuously travel. My we're a 4-star hotel, 4.5-star hotel. They're a 5-star. Our rates are really not that different in low season. In fact, on days are more expensive. I have double their occupancy in low season. How can it be? Why? And that is simply because pay peanuts, get monkeys. That really is the case. If you don't treat your staff properly, eventually you'll lose out. And it's simply better to invest a bucket load of money into your staff and their well-being and a lot of other stuff, because they're the ones who give the service. I said Richard Branson, he once said it, and clearly it's thanks to TripAdvisor, it's real. And it is paying off, and I said we're by far the busiest hotel in town. 77% occupancy year-round last year, and a decent GOP, and we're doing pretty well. So it's paying off.
I can, for the last 24 hours, we have TripAdvisor that has released the listings of best hotels, restaurants in the world, and you guys have been mentioning your listing. What I've been doing is I've been reading the reviews of the best hotels in Bali, where I am, and then in Indonesia and the world. And what's really consistent with all the winners and all the champions and the 10 best hotels wherever they are is really that they get what true luxury is about. So it's very interesting that it's not the most fanciest hotels, and they're not all extremely expensive hotels, not at all, but they all really get what customer service is about. And they really reach out to the heart of the guest, and that's what makes really at the end a difference. And for me, when you get that, and on top of that, you also care about the environment, you're sustainable, and and not only conscious about your guests and your staff, but also, you know, the holistic approach to it, you really have you have a winner property, and it's been recognized by the guests. So I agree with all of you and with everything Anna said. It is a trend, it is a direction the market is taking, and whoever is listening now and really embracing those values has understood everything. Okay.
I couldn't agree more.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you so much, Alex.
All right, that was really inspiring.
Summary, Alex. Thank you.
No, just a last thing I would like to add is an announcement. We are launching very soon a website called Chimborazo, which will be listing true luxury properties. So we are trying to embrace exactly what we were talking about today and see if really there is an alternative listing to the classic ones by promoting and showcasing what makes those properties true luxury places around the world. Well, thank you very much for everybody around the world to attend this webinar, and stay tuned to listen to our future webinars and podcasts with inspiring talks. Thank you. Have a great day, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you so much.